be on brand and don't separate your brand from who you are, because that is the magic. Now, this is a whole different episode, but you separating yourself from your business and kind of like having that third eye view, it's amazing from a mindset standpoint, but your brand is you. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Brand podcast. And today I have a topic that many people ask me about, but that also I spot in people. And if you have been with me for a minute, you know that when I talk about building your personal brand, for me, your brand is the mark that you leave in the world. You are here with a message. You are here doing what you do in the world through your work for a reason, right? You could be doing anything else, but you, my friend, chose to do what you're doing. And there is probably a conviction, there is probably something that made you do that. One of the things that I see, not only on other people, I see these on myself too, is sometimes we get caught up on the busy work of growing a business and we forget that we started this business for something, not only our own why, but also the collective why, the reason that we believe that we're making a difference in the world. So for example, for me, is truly helping women bring more of who they are into what they do, become more of themselves, really be authentic, and really step into their own personal power, which I actually call it your personal brand power, because I think that as business owners and as brand builders, we took on a responsibility to bring our message to the world. I kind of want to go back, a lot of my episodes talk about brand strategy, right? And that's fine. We all need the brand strategy to give us clarity. But brand strategy, if you're not bringing it into the world, is literally, you guys, a piece of paper. So it's a piece of paper with information about your brand. So the next stage of that is really living out your brand, the implementation of that brand. But I want to talk about this today from a space of fulfillment, not so much from a place of a strategy, because I think that so many of us were doing this mindset work, this energy work around believing more on ourselves, really believing in our skills, really knowing that we have something to bring to the world. But this could be so much easier. And this is absolutely my experience. It is when we tap into the living of our brand, what difference we want to make in the world, why are we doing what we're doing, it becomes so much easier to step into our power. It becomes so much aligned, we get lit up. So one of the things that I think is when we are busy building our business, it's so important to have these reflection moments where we're okay, why am I still doing this? What is my truth still? What is the lead up feeling I feel by doing what I do? So for example, for me, it's really clear, usually I get to Thursday, which is the days that we do hot seats inside of the B-Brand Academy, and I get lit up again. And I remember the whole freaking reason I'm doing what I'm doing, because it's the day that I'm literally coaching people one-on-one within our hot seats for 2 hours. And women bring their problems and their challenges in their business and their brand. And a lot of the times it's mindset. So I kind of want to give you a few ideas on how to rekindle your brand message, your mission, your actual reason why you started your business. And of course, I'm going to tell you a few stories along the way. So one of the things that I want you to think about is, How often are you preaching your message? And I recently did a self audit of my Instagram, and my whole message is being you, being authentic. I actually, last episode, my last solo episode was authenticity versus perfectionism. So I talked about this a little bit. But one of the things that is a must for me is helping women show up in a way that is authentic to them, that they're feeling that they are doing things their way. They are not being put in a box. So the reason why I was looking at this audit, and I was like, well, I haven't really talked about being you and what that means to me and to my clients in a minute, right? Because again, we can have all these things in a piece of paper, but if we're not talking about them, we're not really preaching our message. And we're not really spreading our voice, spreading our reach. This is not just about visibility, making money, having a bigger audience. This is about you reminding your existing audience of the reason you are building this brand. Now, I kind of want to bring you back to this for a second. I am not talking about only strategy here. You are preaching this message because it's important to you at some level. For me, this goes back to my own brand story. This goes back to me awakening on my 30s and realizing that I haven't been my full authentic self. Even more, that at that moment in my life, I wanted different things, and my be you was different than my be you from my 20s. My being myself in my 30s and then even in my 40s was completely different than who I was earlier in life. So me helping other women come into this revelation that they can kick the board, that they can build a business no matter what, that they're not too old, they're not too far behind. It doesn't matter. You are right in the right place. That is truly my message. And helping women do this through their businesses, whatever it is they decide to do. So on the implementation side, I wanted to also think, and we actually have an exercise inside of the academy, which is people's most favorite exercise there. It's like, okay, if you were a car, what would you be? Now, bear with me on this. So for me, I would be a pink Jeep. Now, I do not drive a pink Jeep, but I do drive a Jeep. Now, I want you to think of what that means to you, right? For me, it's like freedom and unique, and I don't care what you think. My Jeep is pink, right? Like I go into the desert and I let my hair out. Now, for you, maybe your brand would be a black Mercedes, and it would be very put together and very prolific. And it doesn't matter to others, it matters to you. What would your brand be? And this is not what you think it should be. What would it truly be? And we do this with several things, right? We are like, okay, if your brand would be perfume or a scent, what would that be? Now, why is this important is because you start realizing, how are you showing up in your true essence? How are you showing up truly as yourself on everything you do in your life? And why is this important is because, again, living your brand, it's about the mark that you leave in the world. It's your legacy, is the impression and the change you are creating in the world. There is that super famous quote, right, that says, be the change you want to see in the world. And this is so true for me. Like every day I'm like, if I want the world to be in a certain way, what would that be? And for me, it's like positive and unapologetic, and people being real, and people living out their dreams, and you living out your brand is a part of you living out your dreams without shooting ourselves, without like all the conditioning that we bring that comes back to us. No matter how much energy work and how much mindset work we do, it comes back to us because it's kind of our default. So we're moving the needle, but the needle always wants to go back. So we constantly have to be doing that work to show up authentically, to remind ourselves of why are we doing what we are doing, right? So a few ideas for you today, and things that I truly share with my clients all the time is preaching your message all the time, not only on social media. Now, building a brand in social media has become so much easier, but you building a personal brand, it's way beyond social media. Is how do you show up to a networking event? How do you show up with your family? How do you show up? And I want to give a parenthesis here, because I know so many times it's so much harder to show up as we show up on social media with our family, because they know us in a different light and they know us in a different way. But doing that step, extending that energy and trying to become more of who we are in every aspect of our lives, really helping others with whatever it is that we are preaching in our businesses, and at the same time understanding that they don't see us that way. So being forgiving that those people have not grown with us into this new persona. When you're building a personal brand, you're growing into this new persona that can be public, that can be visible, that you're putting yourself, your thoughts, your thought leadership out there. And our family, a lot of the times, haven't seen us do that growth. And that's okay, because a lot of us building brands, we have these huge dreams of impacting a lot of people. Those people do not need to be your family. But I kind of wanted to give you that, right? Share your core truth openly, often, maybe through a podcast, maybe through social media, maybe on a blog, maybe you go speak on stage, share this truth. Maybe when you are in a group and you are sharing why you started your business, what is the change that you want to see in the world? The other one, living out your brand. This one, it's funny because I'm talking about this, and today probably is the first day. If you're seeing me on Instagram or on the YouTube channel, I'm not wearing pink, but look at my background. I always wear on brand clothing. I'm always wearing pink earrings or pink shoes. Now, for you, this might be different. This may be wearing, maybe you have a symbol that you use on your brand. My friend Chelsea Pites, she wears smiley faces. Like, she has smiley faces all over her office, and she has smiley faces everywhere. Maybe there is something that you love that you can bring into your brand that people can recognize and remember you by, but that is coming from your heart. This is not just from the strategic place. I truly, guys, I love wearing pink. I love wearing orange. There is like a story. When I was in my 20s, I had a friend, and like, she was my best friend at the time. And she was always like telling me, I can't believe you're wearing so much pink. I can't believe this. And life separated us because she wasn't my person. One of my brand pillars is positivity. I truly believe that positivity can change everything in your life. And I preach that often. How can you have a positive outcome in whatever it is that you're going through, in your business, in your life, with your clients? How can you say, how can I look at this from a different perspective? How can I be positive about this? What is the positive in this, even if I cannot see it right now? And life separated us with my friend because she was not that positive person. She was very judgmental. I am not a very judgmental person, or maybe I'm not now, but I used to be, because, we all grow. But like, she used to like tease me about wearing pink. And something that happened as I got into my 30s and then my 40s, I'm about to be 47, is I really embraced the fact that pink makes me happy. And then pink, like when I'm wearing pink, I feel like my energy is higher. And then pink became kind of my thing. And then when I started my business, I actually pivoted my business from kids photography to personal branding photography. I kept the colors because they were so meaningful to me. Everything I do has pink in my life. This is not just in my brand, because you guys, I am my brand, and you, my friend, are your brand. So you wearing your colors when you jump on calls, when you maybe are doing speaking engagements, when you go into podcasts, be on brand, and don't separate your brand from who you are, because that is the magic. Now, this is a whole different episode, but you separating yourself from your business and kind of like having that third eye view, it's amazing from a mindset standpoint. but your brand is you. You bring that into your business. The other thing is dress for the business that you want, not for the one you have. I am going to repeat this. Dress for the business you want, not for the one you have. So I feel like a lot of us show up to your business because we're doing businesses, guys, from literally from our living rooms, from our offices, from our home offices. And it's so easy to show up in workout clothes. And if that's your brand, that's amazing. But are you truly dressing for the business that you want? And that's a question that only you can answer. For me, I know that I love speaking on stage. I pitch myself to speak all the time. I show up for events and then I create relationships. We talked about this. We actually have a whole program coming up about like visibility, speaking, pitching yourself, all of that. But one of the things is like when I bring someone into the podcast, I want that person to be entertaining. I want that person to look good. I want that person to have a certain presence. I want that person to be aligned with my brand. So if I love showing up on my brand colors and showing up good for my brand and stand out, maybe showing up in your workout clothes 90% of the time is not the way to go. So I'm not saying not show up on your stories on Instagram because you're not wearing on brand clothes. What I'm saying is if you're wearing your own brand clothes 90% of the time, guess what's going to happen? You're always on brand, right? And I give this advice inside of my program to my photography clients, all of it because it has made my life so much easier. So your office, guys, I see so many people showing up online for your lives, for your videos, and your office is a disaster. Now, I want to give a disclaimer. My office is a disaster right now, outside of camera. Can you create a corner that aligns with your brand? What is your brand? Maybe you have a quote behind you. Maybe you have a painting. Maybe you have a white wall and you wear your colors. Is this making sense? Now, your brand is not just showing up on social media. And I think that while we all want to build online businesses, that gives us the edge to be able to spread so wide. That's amazing. But at the same time, how are you showing up on communities? Are you showing up as a leader in those communities and spreading your message and talking your message? Or are you showing up as an attendee? This one is huge. I think I talked about this in another episode. I can't remember. I want you to start showing up as a leader. I want you to start showing up, spreading your message. Now, if you're in a mastermind where you are a student, that's a different place. That's a different thing. But if you're showing up to these networking events, if you're showing up to these events in person, events in Zoom, show up for your personal brand. Show up as a leader. Another way of living your personal brand is I want you to think of the experience your clients have when they come in contact with you. How does it work? So for me, for a while, I had somebody that was working my Instagram and I felt really detached. I didn't really grasp who the people, the new followers that we had. And honestly, you guys, my account is growing every single day a little bit, as it should yours too. And one of the things is it only takes me 10 to 15 minutes to actually engage with these new people. And now my brand is about connection and community. Now, maybe yours is not, and that it's okay, and that it's fine. But for me, I felt very disconnected knowing that my brand was about connection and knowing that my brand was about community and not being the person that was saying hello to my new followers. Now, I'm going to tell you this. There is a lot of coaches that do not agree. They won't even say hello to their new followers. Maybe if you have 300,000 followers, this may be different for me when I get there. But right now, in this moment, in my brand, that's my reality. And I felt out of alignment. And that's why I revised and I went back. And this brings me back to actually a conversation that it sparked this episode, which was a conversation on Thursday for our Be Brand clients and a hot seat. And one of our clients has been going back and forth in her offers. I asked her, why did you start this business? She was like, well, originally I started my business so I could have flexibility and I could have the time to be with my daughter. And very soon I realized that I love being the support system for other people. Now, the problem she was challenged with, she was creating all these packages out of the air where they were taking a lot of time because she needed to learn new skills in order to deliver into these packages. There is a misalignment there because now what she's truly doing is she's people pleasing, right? She was people pleasing without her realizing, but then it was not in line with her idea of like having more time to be with her daughter. Yes, it was in alignment with women, with her being the support for women, but not in a way that it was in alignment with what she wants to preach also in the world, which is women becoming self-empowered, self-reliant in their business and stepping in their power and outsourcing. So part of that is the women that she wants to work with, they trust her because she knows what she's doing. But if she's having to create these new things for these women because they don't trust her, do you see the misalignment here? How do we solve a problem like this? In any area of your brand, of your business, is by you reflecting, am I living out my brand? Am I preaching my brand? Does my content represent my brand? Do my offers are in alignment with my brand? And I want you to understand this. As your business grows, these may change and it's okay. As your business grows, if you grow and you want to scale, these may change. But where are you right now? Are you in alignment with the vision that you have for your business? Are you in alignment with what do you want to actually do? Are you in alignment with the message that you want to bring in the world? And are you showing up every single day in your business, in your life, for the brand that you want to create, for the mark that you want to leave in the world, for your legacy? I want to give you an example of this. Be Brand Live or Live Conference was born out of this because in the beginning of my business, I did a lot of in-person events here in Vegas and I loved it. And there is an energy that is unmatched when you are in a room in person talking to people and they are meeting you and you guys are creating relationships. And last year around March, I was like, I really miss that. And I brought it back with Be Brand Live and we're doing it again. And that is so aligned with what I want to create in the world, which is community, more women speaking their truth, more women helping each other, more women not competing, more women understanding that we're all different and there is a space for all of us. So a few more ways that you can bring your brand to life is maybe for you, volunteering is really important. What are some organizations you can be a part of? Do you see how everything that I am here proposing to you, it's bringing from the inside who you are into the world, spreading your message wider and wider and wider and wider through everything you are. Now, for a lot of you, social media is the way you're growing your business. By the way, I still grow my business 90% through social media, but that's not my top of funnel. I feed into my social media from the podcast, networking events, leveraging other people's communities, teaching in front of other communities, and then people feed into my social media. Now, if you're interested in this strategy, I'm going to be teaching it at the 10X Visibility Sprint starting in June, but I'm hosting a masterclass before that. It's going to be, I believe, May 27th, but look at the show notes for this. It's going to be called a Standout, and we're going to talk about all of these strategies because you guys, if you are solely relying on social media, it's a very 2D version of you. It's very hard for people to fall in love with you, to really fall in love with your mission, with your vision, with who you are through a little screen where we are looking for maybe 30 seconds at a time. So having a lot of these events and a lot of these other places where people are coming into your world and they are experiencing you deep into what you want to bring into the world, not just your offers, deep into what it is that you bring to the world from a place of truth, from a place of who you are, and they get to experience the true you. And this is why it's so important for you to leave out your brand, my friend. Leave your mark in the world. I hope that you enjoy this episode, that you are feeling inspired to truly connect to your bigger why before you put anything out there. From an Instagram live to a podcast episode to a piece of content on social media, when you walk into a networking event, tap into what do you want people to leave with from that interaction. That, my friend, is your brand. I love you, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye.